I'm not quite sure how to follow free cookies. I'm Sarah, and I'm part of the team of Revolution. In May of this year, I walked through the doors of Water Street Mission for the first time. I was there to volunteer with a group called Revolution, a group of women who gather together to build relationships and community. But as I walked out that night, I felt this sense of shame. And I realized it was because I walked in with the assumption that the women I would meet facing homelessness would look different than me and would be different than me. That night, I met beautiful, strong, resilient women. I'm a person of faith. I claim to follow Jesus, believing that there is value in everyone I meet. And yet here I was, carrying around these stereotypes in my heart and mind. That night shattered the way that I see women struggling in the crisis of homelessness. Homelessness suddenly became names and faces. It became women like me in crisis. And times of crisis require supportive communities. And that's why Revolution exists. Revolution is a jewelry company. We create and sell beautiful leather jewelry in order to bridge the employment gap for women transitioning out of homelessness. Our makers are the women I met that night at Water Street. Homelessness in our community is real, and the crisis is urgent. There are over 230 women and children in our community that don't have a place to call home. Now, employment is an obvious piece to healing that crisis. But we falsely assume that employment is a problem because of a lack of desire or ability, when in fact, homeless individuals can succeed at work with the right opportunities and supports. But too often, when you're in that place of crisis, you're up against barriers. Barriers like access to transportation, childcare, and past records. One study showed that while 80% of homeless individuals want to work, 60% have either can't find a job or have given up trying because of the barriers they're facing. So at Revolution, we take leather scraps that are donated but would otherwise end up in the landfill, and we train our makers to repurpose them into beautiful pieces of jewelry. Our weekly on-site workshops provide open opportunity and are in places where childcare is readily accessible. It's an opportunity to come for a few hours a week and earn a fair wage for work. Most importantly, the experience begins creating the crucial inroads needed to solve the employment gap by providing a safe, accessible place to build job readiness skills like accountability, punctuality, and communication. Our makers walk through the doors of our workshop and they know that we hold them to a high standard, but they also know that we care. We are the voices cheering them on, saying, you can do this. You can move back home and be successful in this community. And when they do, we offer valuable employment references. Our vision is to equip our makers with the skills needed to transition to long-term sustainable employment. And because success for our makers means using us as a launching point for long-term employment, we can leverage our model to reach many in a short period of time. Our signature is that each of our pieces is hand-stamped with words. Words like dignity, believe, fearless. Words that are inspired by the journeys of our makers. So you're buying a piece of someone's story, but it's also your story. It's a connection. Honestly, we all carry around the baggage of incorrect and even damaging stereotypes, and our jewelry is just a small way to break those down and build unity. We've honed our designs based on focus groups. We've tested out market demand and our pricing by selling at local events. And we already have nearly 10 boutique retailers that are excited about carrying our line. We just completed our first corporate order of 450 keychains this month, and we expect to begin full retail and online sales in late October. We've had amazing community support to date, and from a financial perspective, our retail price allows for industry best practice profit margins, which fuels our profitability and allows us to pay a fair wage per piece to our makers for production. Our workshop design is simple, so that as we grow and scale, we can easily replicate it in new locations to provide transitional employment to even more vulnerable job seekers. We have a leadership team of 7 women from a variety of business backgrounds, and we have an active advisory team comprised of service providers, business professionals, and experts in the fashion industry to guide us on this journey. One woman that we've worked with shared with us recently, I may be homeless, but that's not who I am. That's the beauty we want to see. Women experiencing freedom from their circumstances, confident in their created value, and equipped to thrive in our community. And Revolution is an exceptionally effective way to do this. So I ask that you would stand with us as we stand with women facing crisis, so that together we can make this community a more vibrant and hopeful place for us all. Thank you.